observers, those of you in the audience, we are going to ask that you think deeply here about what you are witnessing. Examine your potential role in these students' academic careers. Also be thinking about your particular program. Consider the things that you believe might be in place to help these students succeed. Also be thinking about the possible gaps that can contribute to obstacles for these students and how those obstacles might prevent a student from completing their program. Consider the program review process and how this process correlates to what you are about to see. All right, are we ready, students?
Ready.
So you're looking at your semester 1 data. If you pass all your classes, please step forward to the first blue line. Only if you pass all your classes. All right, now we're going to move to semester 2 data. If you return for the second semester, please step forward. And that includes those of you on the who stepped forward. Yeah, there you go. If you passed all your classes and then came back, you're going to come up to the next line as well. If you passed all your classes in the second semester, please step forward. At this point, if any of you have earned a certificate, degree, or transferred to NMSU, you are going to go all the way to the front where Sue Williams is kind of hanging out there. She's got your diploma. All right, semester 3 data. If you return for the third semester, please step forward. If you passed all your classes, please step forward. And again, if anyone at this point has earned a certificate, degree, or transferred to NMSU, please head to the front of the class there and get your diploma from Sue Williams. All right, semester 4 data. If you return for the 4th semester, please step forward. If you passed all your classes in the 4th semester, please step forward. If anyone has earned a certificate, degree, or transferred to NMSU at this point, please step to the front. Semester 5 data. If you return for the 5th semester, please step forward. If you passed all your classes, please step forward. If anyone's earned a certificate, degree, or transferred to NMSU, step to the front. All right, 6th semester. If you return for the 6th semester, please step forward. If you passed all your classes, please step forward. If anyone has earned a certificate, degree, or transferred to NMSU at this point, please step all the way up to the front. And there's, let's see, so how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you? All right, that worked out. So just to let you know, that's 6 out of 50. That's 12% of these students who were able to graduate, receive a certificate, or transfer within 3 years. So at this point, our roving reporter, Martha McClaslin, is going to talk to some of these students who both were successful in graduation, as well as some who may still be back here on the first line.
Well, good morning, everybody. Today I'm your roving reporter, and I want to explore your situations just a little bit more. First of all, I have some questions for the successful graduates. What does it feel like to be standing here at the head of the class? Wonderful. Amazing. Excited for the future.
Successful.
Anything else you would like to share with us?
Out of all these students, I topped the batch.
The top of the class. That's great. What circumstances helped you become this successful?
Determination, family support.
I am a first-time, full-time, first-generation Hispanic female student at DACC who started in fall 2012. I am enrolled in developmental ed and received a Pell Grant.
She's speechless. What circumstances helped you become successful?
Persistence. I have the desire. I have the guidance.
You should have this. All right, let me run towards the back. Anyone have any comments from here? No? No comments.
The reason is because I work all day in the morning and can't use the phone or computers to call due to the company being very strict. I thought I was going to make it with 4 classes, but it turned out that to get more work than I can handle.
Sounds like something very realistic that we hear from students on a daily basis.
The courses at DACC are streamlined to match those at NMSU, which makes it so easy for DACC graduates to transfer over the NMSU and quickly complete their bachelor's degree. Had it not been for instructors' intervention, I probably would not succeed and could not be in my last semester of study for my bachelor's. I once, through the highest education I could get, was a bachelor's degree, but not, I know what I am prepared to keep on going, and I plan to pursue a graduate degree and hopefully a doctor's as well.
That's persistence.
Martha, there's a comment over here.
I thought the class was during summer 2 with my other class, but the class was summer 1, and I didn't know, so I didn't go to any of the classes.
Unfortunately, I did not know I was signed up for this class. I recently got out of a relationship and I decided to get on to my NMSU, and I saw I was registered for 2 summer classes. In no way did I know that my significant other signed me up for these courses. I was able to drop one, but not the other. If I had known I was signed up for this course earlier, I would have kept up with the class. But it's far too late for me to catch up. I changed my password, so this will no longer happen.
And here's a comment. During the course, there was much miscommunication between me and the instructor. When I asked for help, I was asked to search on Google. And when I explained to the instructor that I was having trouble with an assignment, the instructor never replied. Although I did inform the instructor days before spring break let out, I never got a reply for an extension or a redo.
One more comment.
In my online class, grades were not posted throughout the semester, so there was no time for feedback or improvement in my work.
Any other comments? So you can see the differences between...
We have one more.
One more?
I have enjoyed all my classes this semester, but it has been quite a hard, stressful semester. This class in particular, I feel is far from being easy. It's been a hard one, but it challenges students to think outside the box and teaches us to apply everything we learn in class to real things in life. I have learned a lot from this class, from working in groups to developing my analytical skills.
Thank you.
The instructor genuinely cares about students. I had a family emergency and had to leave on the first day of classes starting. The instructor took the time to pull me aside upon my return and ask how I was doing. That meant a lot and shows concern for the well-being of students.
After graduation, we remained in contact. My instructor advised and supported me in my decision to study abroad, which was a life-changing experience. Without the instructor's encouragement, I would have overlooked one of the greatest opportunities of my life. The instructor understands the importance of school and motivates me to never give up.
Thank you.
Okay, we should mention that those are actual comments from students that we were able to pull anonymously. We have no idea who the student was or what class they were referring to, but those are actual comments that we were able to pull from recent evaluations. So now at this point, we'd like to hear from the audience. As you watch this exercise and you watch 50 students proceed through three years of academic work here at DACC, 6 of them were able to complete their programs successfully. Give us one word that comes to your mind at the conclusion of this exercise. Donna?
Enlightening.
She took my word.
That's more than one word.
Okay, thank you. Gosh, I'm actually speechless for once in my life.
Speechless is good.
One word, really. Persistent.
Okay. Speechless. One word? One word?
Insufficient.
Insufficient. Does that mean insufficient?
12%, that's
Okay.
insufficient.
Insufficient. Anyone else? One word?
Sad.
Sort of a communication.
Engagement is key.
Communication.
Anyone else want to share one word with us?
Doug, I've got my word.
You got your word. All right.
Unconscionable.
Excellent. How about over here? Anybody want to share a word over here?
Anybody back here?
Terrible.
Compassionate instructors.
I think there's hope.
Surprising.
Hope, expectation.
Excellent. Okay. Now, what is one connection you can make between this exercise and the concept of program review? How does this relate to the concept of program review? Anybody? Do we have a few more mics, right?
David, do you have a comment?
Looks to me like if students will get through the first year, a much higher percentage of them can make it. They have to get through their first year.
Constant, consistent, regular advices.
Thank you.
There is a lot faculty can do to improve the program performance.
And this is a little bit of a plug for my presentation later, but breaking down silos.
Excellent. Thank you.
Doug, I think it would be interesting to know, like within our programs, within our own programs, why do the students leave? And it would be interesting to ask, because there might be a difference according to the programs and what the requirements are within them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
How can we increase the success by increasing preparedness?
There's 50 different individuals here, and everybody didn't make it or did make it for individual reasons. If each program looks at themselves closely, they can look for little niche areas that can be improved. It's not systemic wide, it's for that program. And if each program improves themselves a little bit, then we increase overall.
I'd say system support because it needs the advising, it needs support for online, it needs support for transfer, it needs support for follow-up, and for professional development for faculty.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, let's turn our attention to the students who did not move very far. These several students back here that were on the first or second line. In what ways could a review of your program address the needs of those students who were not able to move past the first semester? How could a program review assist that process?
I think that if the program pays more attention to the student, tries to identify whether or not perhaps it's actually something in the course. Sometimes we let students just drop or get lost or on site. We never follow up, so they become a statistic. So if programs were to spend more time actually reaching out to the student, perhaps inviting them back as much as we can to try to identify maybe there's a flaw in the system itself versus always blaming the student.
Excellent.
I had another comment from someone on the sideline that wanted to know if there wasn't a hidden question within the data. Maybe they started a program and found out it just wasn't for them.
Anyone else? How can we help these students who drop out in the first semester or two?
We have a question over here. We have a comment over here.
In response to the last question, the unspoken question, the answer, well, another question that comes to me is, if they registered for a program and then found out that it wasn't for them, what are we doing to guide them towards a program that is for them? I think of this, I look at these numbers, and I think of this in terms of any business. If we had a clothing store or a restaurant, and only 12% came in and bought anything, we would be closed. We'd be out of business.
I have a comment from one of the students back here, starting line.
I didn't get any money to go to school. I didn't get my Pell Grant, and I didn't pass my first class, and all I had was middle and courses. Maybe somebody should have suggested something that would spark my interest to stay, and maybe, I don't know if it's the program's responsibility or maybe it is, and I need more education on how to get my student more financial access and support that way. I never came back.
I have a question. Are there any of these students in the shade that are undeclared majors? We talk about program review, but if they're taking general study classes or other classes, that's not part of a program, then how do we review that?
Excellent question. Dr. Torres, do you want to, are you here?
Yeah, I'm back here. You know what? I think that was Diane that asked that question.
Yeah.
You know what? We missed including that in the demographic data. We totally should have picked that up. In fact, we may ask Mary Beth to go back and look at those profiles and see if there's any way we can determine how many of them were undeclared, because we do think we have an issue with too many undeclared students, and how do we guide them earlier in the process? So that's a great question, Diane, that we just hadn't thought about. Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
I have another student back here who'd like to say something.
So I'm a Hispanic male, first-time full-time student. I was enrolled in developmental education courses, and I didn't receive a Pell Grant. So I think for the students, access to funds for school, those first years, the developmental instruction, the secondary developmental courses, you know about these resources maybe, and talk to the students about financial resources that are available to them. Maybe do an exercise on, writing some kind of scholarship profile or something like that. And then also having an exercise maybe where students can explore other programs throughout the college, kind of take them kind of like for a field trip and, have them explore our clinics, our shops, all of our programs that we have. And once the student actually sees it and they see other students there, they can imagine themselves there. And it comes to life for them, and that could be something that will motivate them to continue.
As faculty, what are we doing to engage our students outside of the classroom? Are we encouraging them to join student clubs and organizations or to attend conferences? I think if they're engaged in the community at DACC as a whole, they might want to stay, and because they've made friends not only in the classroom but outside.
Well, if this were MIT, we could afford to run classes with rigidity and let the devil take the hindmost. But if you don't have, as an instructor, the face of the college, if you don't have some compassion and adaptability for your students, you may be in the wrong line of work.
Yeah, actually, I want to just build on what Robin said. If after the exercise you all would take just a quick look, Becky and I think Brad and Anya were chalking some student comments that come from real comments. And I've worked in community colleges for a long time before and most recently. And when you look at some of those student comments, you think, it just hit me in the gut. It was like, oh yeah. And it just speaks to, I think, the point that Robin just made.
Okay, do we have time for another question, or should we?
We're doing good, Doug. We probably have about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, so let's think about how the beginning of this process of program review can really work to help students rather than become another exercise in bureaucracy. So how do you think this idea of program review can really trickle down to the student, rather than just be this rote exercise that we do every year that, as Dr. Torres mentioned, gets shoved on the shelf and only looked at once a year? How can this actually benefit students? Thoughts, comments?
Where's somebody? Got a comment.
I have one over here.
I think a part of program review should be where what the student learning, does it really apply to jobs, to the things that we need, resources that we need in our community? Does it really apply?
I also was kind of wondering if the first day of class is when you lose or you get students to connect with you. And I think maybe sort of along with the syllabus, if there is some sort of guideline to selling the idea of hope. Because in terms of selling the idea of hope, what might I be talking about? I'm talking about perhaps letting them know that there's these various scholarship opportunities, or the whole idea of the whole student, not just getting them through classes, but understanding who the whole student is. If there could be some sort of, I don't know, package crafted for us as instructors to know, okay, try to follow this sort of format the first day of class. So people know, oh, you have this chance, you have this opportunity, or like how I learned recently about the individual studies for our bachelors, that you don't have to necessarily fight your way all the way to another school, that you can stay locally and craft your own solution to education. You know, like selling the idea of hope. How can we put together a standard package that everybody could follow and the message be going through to everybody in a level kind of way?
So it sounds like involving the students on day one and understanding their program and how that program is going to relate to a job when they finish.
Well, yeah, I have been picking and a lot of the college has talked about having the students assign a mentor, where a mentor among faculty, one faculty would mentor, regardless of the program, maybe 4 or 5 students, right from the day one. So they come to the faculty, they sit down with the faculty describes what learning is all about, what job prospects are there, and then that student follows that faculty around, not in terms of program, but in terms of moral support and mentoring for the next 2 years, 3 years, as long as that might establish a better connection with the students.
I want to say that I'm excited about program review, genuinely. And the reason is because it opens the conversation between us and all the other instructors. Our program highly depends on the success of students in their math, in their English, in psychology, in anatomy, physiology. And if students aren't successful and have significant learning, then they fail in my program. And it causes a lot of heartache on all of us if they don't make it through. So program review for me is an opportunity to open up that dialogue so that instructors can see the progress of students going into programs, allied health, water technology, wherever they go. And so it gives us a chance to show the progress of that and understand the significance of does make a difference in student learning outcomes and, of course, in job placement, employability, professional success. So that's what I'm excited about.
I think one of the things that we need to take into consideration is that faculty sometimes fear change, and that within the program review process, we could have results that end up in making a change within the program, and that could be in terms of a practice or a perspective. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. It shows us how we can improve. One of the things we know from the research on first-generation students is that if you save one first-generation student, you're actually saving a generation of students in that family, because they are then the model for success academically. And so it's really important that everything we do works to help the students succeed within the classes, and that includes making personal connections as well as changing programs that have been in existence for years.
Okay, any final thoughts, comments about what you saw here, program review, how this relates to turning data into people and making sure we realize that people are underlying the data?
I appreciate this opportunity to put this into perspective, because when we read the numbers on a piece of paper, sometimes we lose sight that that number represents a human being. And so it's sad to realize that out of 50, only 6 students, and along the lines, and I know we're always so busy with meetings, committees, always coming up with new ideas and course development, but the big picture is that somewhere along the lines, we're losing people. And as a young lady just said back there, unless we look at it as a business, sometimes I guess we don't, because we think it's education. Any business would go out of business if we don't take care of our customers. And so there's an internal customer and an external customer, and we have to concentrate on both. We have to find that equal balance.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else?
I think it'll be interesting to see the difference between our current PRIP, which has been pretty boring, to be blunt, and a very interactive program review that will actually have outcomes and actions. I think that an annual basis where you have the faculty involved will help look at the student and the program, and actually make us look at keeping our programs more effective for the students that we are training for going out to the workforce or going on to the university.
Okay, anybody else?
I have one more.
I have altogether a different idea. If we can divide all the faculty into groups, Mondays and Thursdays, all the students divide into groups, maybe 50 groups, 60, I don't know. You may call it tutorials, but these tutorials are not for academic achievement. These tutorials are different, that each and every student gets involved in something. They feel part of a column. They feel they're part here. This is their home. Maybe each and every student is given an opportunity to talk about something, give some speech on education, give some speech on development, high school education, whatever. But each and every student gets involved, and they talk about their problem and their success in Saleon and what other issues they have. But each and every student should be given an opportunity to talk and open up. All those tutorials, if we have 100 faculty, maybe each faculty can take 10, 20, whatever, but they meet for half an hour, Mondays and Fridays. Totally different idea.
Okay, it looks like we have one more and then we'll wrap it up.
Hello everyone. Being a product of DACC, I started my education here at Downtown Community College in the
Okay, and then Doug, I had a question. In the students that were left that didn't move at all in the back, did anything have to do with your frustration with our technology and all the learning platforms that we use? And once it gets too frustrating, you just sort of give up? Was that ever mentioned in any of the students that never passed that first semester?
In the comments that we polled, or the ones that we sort of analyzed, there wasn't a lot about frustration with technology or the LMS system. Not that that isn't happening, but we didn't really see that as a trend in terms of comments that we pulled out. All right, well that concludes our graduation ceremony. Let's give these 6 students a nice round of applause, and the rest of the students a nice round of applause. And we will continue to do what we can to get them to the front of the line, right? At this point, we are all going to move back into the commons area.